While the world fawned over sports cars and luxury sedans, these unassuming machines were out there doing the work, pulling G's on tight corners, barreling down highways, and catching criminals before most people finished breakfast. And now, they're either retired, quiet, forgotten, but still dangerous. These are the 12 police interceptors you can actually buy. Number 12, 2013 Ford Taurus Police Interceptor, AWD EcoBoost. The civilian Ford Taurus never turned heads. It was a rolling shrug, quiet, tame, and a favorite of rental agencies everywhere. But the police interceptor version, that was a whole different beast. It was one of the most underrated pursuit machines of the 2010s. A wolf dressed in the blandest possible sheep's clothing. At its core was the same 3.5-liter twin turbocharged EcoBoost V6 found in the Taurus SHO. It delivered 365 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. But more importantly, it was paired with full-time all-wheel drive. That setup gave it relentless traction, perfect for snow-covered highways, rainy back roads, or city streets mid-pursuit. The result? A 0 to 60 time of 5.7 seconds and a top speed over 150 miles per hour. This wasn't just fast for a cop car, it was fast, period. But Ford didn't stop at power. The Police Interceptor sedan came with law enforcement-specific upgrades: heavy-duty brakes, oil coolers, beefed-up suspension, reinforced subframes, and a transmission tuned for high-stress, real-world pursuit duty. It was designed to take curbs at speed, run flat out for hours, and keep going long after civilian cars would have tapped out. Inside, it was all function over form: vinyl flooring, cloth seats, a column shifter, and pre-wired mounts for radios, computers, and light controls. No touchscreen, no soft-touch materials, no luxury, just grit and reliability. The Interceptor was a rolling tool, built to take abuse, and it excelled at it. And here's the kicker. These units are now flooding government auctions for dirt-cheap prices. You can pick up a former patrol Interceptor with working all-wheel drive and a twin-turbo V6 for under $7,000. Add a tune, bigger intercooler, and stickier tires, and you're looking at a legit 12-second sleeper sedan with Mustang-rivaling performance, and no one will suspect a thing. On the outside, it still looks like a faded government car. No chrome, no flares, just steel wheels and an expressionless grille. But press the throttle, and this thing transforms. While Ford was slipping high-performance tech into dull disguises, Dodge went the opposite way, stuffing full-blown Hemi muscle into oversized, in-your-face brutes. And up next, a police truck that doesn't just chase suspects, it steamrolls them. Number 11, 2015 Dodge Charger Pursuit AWD 5.7 Hemi. The 2015 Dodge Charger Pursuit wasn't subtle. It didn't try to blend in or whisper warnings. It growled, loudly and proudly. At its heart was a 5.7-liter Hemi V8 pushing 370 horsepower and 395 pound-feet of torque. That meant real muscle car numbers, dressed in a uniform. Paired with a reinforced 5-speed automatic and available all-wheel drive, it could rocket from 0 to 60 in just 5.3 seconds. For a full-size four-door, that's no joke. And in the quarter mile, it ran high 13s, quicker than some modern sports cars. But Dodge didn't stop at speed. The Pursuit package turned the Charger into a purpose-built machine for law enforcement. That included heavy-duty suspension, performance-tuned stability control, reinforced subframes, larger brakes, and even bullet-resistant seatbacks. It was designed to handle curbs, medians, and hours of high-speed pursuit without blinking. On the outside, it looked like any other Charger you might pass on the highway, until you noticed the steel wheels, spotlight mounts, or leftover ghost decals. At police auctions, these ex-cop cars are surprisingly affordable, and they're built to last. With the strobes deactivated and push bars still attached, they're the definition of a street-legal sleeper. You might get strange looks at gas stations, but you'll get even stranger looks when you floor it and disappear. The Charger Pursuit is a modern muscle legend with a badge. If you thought that was wild, wait until you see what the police rolled out when they needed to tow, chase, and intimidate all at the same time. Number 10, 2013 Chevrolet Caprice, PPV, 6.0 V8. You've probably never seen one in a showroom, and that's no accident. The 2013 Chevrolet Caprice PPV was never sold to the public. It was a purpose-built pursuit sedan imported from Australia, designed specifically for law enforcement. Under the badge, though, it had the soul of a muscle car. Based on the long-wheelbase Holden Statesman, the Caprice PPV came armed with a 6-liter L77 V8, essentially a slightly tamed version of the LS engine found in Camaros and Corvettes. It delivered 355 horsepower and 384 pound-foot of torque, mated to a 6-speed automatic. That combo launched it to 60 miles per hour in just 5.7 seconds, with a top speed well north of 140. And thanks to rear-wheel drive and a balanced chassis, it could dance through corners far better than any full-size cruiser had a right to. Inside, it was all business. Durable materials, no infotainment, wide seat spacing for gear and consoles, and extra-wide rear door openings for efficient detainee loading. It was built to serve, not entertain. But behind the wheel, it offered the poise of a Chevy SS and the punch of a G8 GXP. Only around 10,000 were ever brought into the US, making clean survivors extremely rare. Most were hammered by police departments before retiring to auction lots. But if you're lucky enough to snag one in decent shape, you've basically scored a 4-door Camaro SS in a badge-wearing disguise. While the Caprice PPV was all about performance, Ford's next entry wasn't flashy. It was a tactical cruiser built for outlasting the competition. Number 9. 2019 Ford Police Interceptor Utility Hybrid AWD. This one didn't rumble like a Charger or shred tires like a Crown Vic. But don't be fooled. The 2019 Ford Police Interceptor Utility Hybrid was a silent assassin, and it changed the game. Built off the Ford Explorer platform, it was the first ever pursuit-rated hybrid SUV. At its core was a 3.3-liter V6 paired with an electric motor, delivering a combined 318 horsepower. That power hit the pavement through a smart all-wheel drive system, launching it to 60 miles per hour in 6.8 seconds. Respectable? Absolutely. But this vehicle wasn't about raw speed. It was about smart speed. Where it shined was in the details. It idled silently, saving departments thousands in fuel costs. It reduced emissions across entire fleets, and it ran cooler, longer, and harder than anyone expected, thanks to police-grade cooling, heavy-duty brakes, upgraded suspension, and reinforced underpinnings designed to withstand curb hops, chases, and constant wear. Departments across the country jumped on it, not just for the green appeal, but because it could actually keep up. It beat the outgoing V6 Explorer in nearly every category, and yet on the outside, it looked just like any other SUV at the mall parking lot. Today, these hybrids are quietly making their way to auction, and for less than the cost of a used Civic, you can drive off in the future of stealth pursuit vehicles, equipped and built to survive anything. Quick pit stop. If you're loving these undercover beasts, smash that subscribe button. Up next, a Dodge so wild it took on Mustangs and criminals in one burnout. Because Dodge wasn't content with just making sedans scream, they gave the same treatment to a full-size SUV. And what they built was part family hauler, part street brawler. Number 8. 2018 Dodge Durango Pursuit 5.7 AWD. This wasn't your average family SUV, and it definitely wasn't built for school runs and soccer practice. The 2018 Dodge Durango Pursuit was Dodge's bold answer to police departments asking for something tougher, faster, and more versatile. What they got was a full-size 3-row SUV with a heart straight out of the muscle car playbook. Under the hood sat a 5.7-liter Hemi V8, cranking out 360 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque. Mated to a heavy-duty 8-speed automatic and a full-time all-wheel drive system tuned for pursuit, it was an absolute beast in disguise. Sure, it could do 0 to 60 in just 6.2 seconds, but speed was just the beginning. The Pursuit package upgraded the brakes with larger rotors, added police-grade suspension tuning, installed high-capacity cooling systems, and threw in a 220-amp alternator to handle all the electrical gear a modern patrol vehicle needs. Radios, strobes, laptops, cameras, you name it, the Durango could power it and still keep its cool. On the outside, it was subtle but serious. A blacked-out grille, LED strobes, steel wheels, and a wide, aggressive stance gave it presence without the flash of an SRT model. That was intentional. This wasn't a show-off, it was a workhorse with bite. Most units stayed in service longer than your average cruiser. But now, a few are starting to trickle into public auctions. If you snag one, you're getting a rare blend. A sleeper SUV with muscle car DNA, real-world chase credentials, and enough space to haul groceries, gear, or suspects. The Dodge delivered brute force in an SUV package. But then, Chevrolet had their own approach. Their next Interceptor could pull double duty, hauling criminals during the day and construction gear after hours. Number 7. 2020 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 SSV. At first glance, it looks like any other fleet truck. White paint, steel wheels, no chrome, and a bed ready for toolboxes. But don't be fooled. The 2020 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 SSV was built for law enforcement, and underneath that plain exterior was one of the fastest, most capable pursuit pickups ever made. Offered exclusively to police and government agencies, this wasn't just a regular Silverado with flashing lights. It was a purpose-built pursuit-rated 4x4 with the bones of a street fighter and the work ethic of a ranch hand. Departments could spec it with a 5.3-liter Ecotec 3 V8, making 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque. Or go all in with the mighty 6.2-liter V8, pumping out 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet. That's Corvette-level output in a crew cab pickup. With the right setup, this truck could hit 60 miles per hour in just over 6 seconds. But more importantly, it could do it repeatedly without overheating, fading, or losing control. Thanks to police-specific cooling systems, reinforced brakes, off-road skid plates, and upgraded suspension, the SSV was designed to chase suspects, hit curbs, and keep going like nothing happened. Inside, it was bare bones. Vinyl seats, rubber flooring, column shifter, and no nonsense. Everything was built for durability and ease of cleanup. But mash the gas, and you'd swear you were driving a muscle truck. These rarely pop up for civilian sale, but when they do, they're a goldmine. It's a sleeper in the truest sense, one that tows like a work truck, but runs like a street machine. Chevy's offering was all about utility with attitude. But Ford had something wilder up their sleeve. Their next Interceptor wasn't just fast, it was borderline absurd. Number 6. 2006 Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor P71. This one's not famous for speed or looks, it's famous for fear. The 2006 Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor, known by its code P71, is the most recognizable cop car in American history. It wasn't the fastest, it wasn't flashy, but it was unkillable. Under the hood was Ford's 4.6-liter modular V8, making 250 horsepower and 297 pound-feet of torque. Modest by modern standards, but the P71 wasn't built for track days. It was built to take a beating and come back for more. Every part of it was beefed up for punishment. Reinforced frame, police-calibrated suspension, heavy-duty cooling systems, upgraded alternator, steel wheels, high-speed rated tires, and extra-wide seats made for belt gear and bulletproof vests. These things were made to idle for 10-plus hours, run non-stop in scorching heat, hop curbs, blast through potholes, and drive off like nothing happened. Mechanics loved them. Officers trusted them. Criminals feared them. And civilians couldn't help slowing down the moment one showed up in the rear view. The sleeper appeal? It's unmatched. On the outside, it looked like a basic sedan or a worn-out taxi, but inside it was a full-bore pursuit machine. You could cruise at 120 all day, haul suspects, swap parts with ease, and even rig it up to run 12-second quarters if you knew what you were doing. And now, they're everywhere. Auctions are flooded with used units. You can grab a clean P71 for under $5,000. That's not just cheap, it's legendary value. You're buying a piece of law enforcement history that still hauls, still growls, and still gets out of its own way. But the Crown Vic was just the start. All right, halfway through, so now's your turn. Drop a comment and tell us, which one shocked you the most so far? The sleeper Crown Vic? The burnout-ready El Camino? We want to know what's earned a spot in your garage. Now, up next, an Australian V8 beast that was never meant to wear a badge. So powerful, America had to import it just to keep up. Number 5. 2016 Chevrolet Impala Police Package. The 2016 Chevrolet Impala Police Package doesn't scream speed, but that's exactly what makes it a sleeper. While most people associate Impalas with rental lots and government fleets, the police version was built with pursuit durability in mind. It came standard with heavy-duty cooling, upgraded suspension, and reinforced subframes, all tucked inside a body that looks about as threatening as a carpool sedan. Under the hood, it packed a 3.6-liter V6 engine, producing 305 horsepower and 264 pound-feet of torque, routed through a 6-speed automatic transmission. That's more power than the base Dodge Charger V6 of the same year. The police package was front-wheel drive, which limited its tail-happy fun, but gave it solid year-round traction. It wasn't built to chase muscle cars off the line, but it could easily keep pace in real-world situations and do it all day long without breaking a sweat. Today, decommissioned Impala police packages are easy to find and dirt cheap, often under $6,000 at auction. Most people overlook them because they lack the visual aggression of a Charger Pursuit or Taurus Interceptor. But that's the point. The 2016 Impala is quiet, anonymous, and surprisingly quick. Throw on better tires, swap in a tuned intake, and you've got yourself a genuine sleeper that blends into traffic, until it doesn't. Next up, we have a Chevy SUV that traded donuts for outright street domination. Number 4. 2021 Chevrolet Tahoe PPV Pursuit Rated 5.3 V8. It's big, it's boxy, it looks like a road trip rig or your uncle's camping SUV, but the 2021 Chevrolet Tahoe PPV is anything but ordinary. This is one of the only full-size SUVs on Earth that's pursuit rated. Not built for the mall, built for the chase. Under the hood, it packs Chevy's tried and true 5.3-liter V8, making 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque. That's paired with a lightning-quick 10-speed automatic that delivers seamless shifts and surprising low-end grunt. Even with its size and weight, this beast sprints from 0 to 60 in around 6.2 seconds and keeps pulling all the way past 130 miles per hour. That's faster than most sports sedans, except this one can also carry an entire SWAT team, their gear, and then some. But the PPV, Police Pursuit Vehicle, trim isn't just a trim badge. It's an overhaul. Chevy gave it unique suspension geometry for better cornering under high speeds, upgraded cooling systems to prevent heat soak in long chases, a high-output alternator for electronics overload, and heavy-duty Brembo brakes that laugh at fade even under brutal conditions. You even get underbody protection and optional steel wheels that can take a beating and keep rolling. The interior? Strictly business. Vinyl floors, wide-open rear cargo space, and wiring harnesses ready for lights, radios, and prisoner transport cages. But strip all that away, and what you're left with is a rear-wheel drive torque monster that you can mod into an absolute menace. Intake, tune, exhaust, and you're dusting Chargers at red lights in a 3-row SUV. At auctions, these often go unnoticed, too tall, too plain. But those in the know, they hunt them down like hidden gems, because the Tahoe PPV is the ultimate contradiction. Big enough to haul bodies, fast enough to outrun them. And if you think a full-size SUV shouldn't be that quick, wait until you see what happens when German precision meets American muscle. Still riding with us? Then you're the real deal. Hit that like, tap subscribe, and buckle up, because the final 3 police interceptors on this list aren't just rare. They're supercharged, turbo-fed, and engineered to intimidate. The next Interceptor wasn't built in Detroit, but it still came with a Hemi and a mission to dominate. Number 3, 2007 Dodge Magnum SRT 8 Police Special, unofficial use. Technically, Dodge never released a police package for the Magnum SRT 8, but unofficially, that didn't stop some departments from getting creative. A handful of agencies, including the California Highway Patrol and unmarked federal units, quietly slipped these Hemi-powered wagons into their fleets and used them like stealth battering rams in tailored suits. At the heart of the 2009 Dodge Magnum SRT8 was a snarling 6.1-liter Hemi V8 pushing 425 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque. Power hit the rear wheels through a 5-speed automatic, giving it a 0 to 60 time of 5.1 seconds and quarter-mile sprints in the high 13s. And it did all that, wrapped in a wagon body that looked like your neighbor's grocery getter. No wings, no spoilers, just brutal power hiding behind a pair of roof rails. Why would departments bother? Simple. The long wheelbase gave it highway stability. The low roofline made it aerodynamic. And the hatch, perfect for tactical gear, med kits, rifles, or a detective's entire office. It was fast, planted, and packed more presence than your typical sedan, all while staying just anonymous enough to vanish in traffic. What makes these Magnums legendary today is how few were ever used this way. Dodge officially ended production in 2008, but a small number of 2009 SRT8 units, likely leftover fleet orders, were outfitted for government work. If you spot one at auction with reinforced suspension, steelies, spotlight mounts, or odd VIN history, you might be staring at a rare piece of undercover performance history. Today, the SRT8 Magnum is a unicorn. It's a muscle wagon with real-world law enforcement roots, terrifying power, and a body style that no one sees coming. And if you've made it this far, you clearly know your sleepers. Smash that subscribe button, because we're down to the final 2. These last Interceptors are so rare, so ridiculous, and so perfectly engineered. They're the holy grails of police performance. Number 2, 2014 Ford Police Interceptor Sedan, 3.5-liter EcoBoost AWD. It looked like a rental and moved like a missile. The 2014 Ford Police Interceptor Sedan was one of the best-kept secrets in law enforcement performance. Based on the 6th-generation Taurus, it was the ultimate sleeper. Designed to blend in at red lights and dominate at high speed, most people assumed it was just another fleet vehicle. But under the hood, it was something else entirely. Powered by a twin-turbocharged 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6, this AWD sedan pushed out 365 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. That power was routed through a performance-tuned 6-speed automatic and delivered to all 4 wheels, giving it incredible grip in all conditions. Acceleration, 0 to 60 in just 5.4 seconds. Top speed, over 140 miles per hour. This wasn't just fast for a police car, it was fast, period. What made it dangerous was how well it disguised itself. It had no aggressive bodywork, no SRT-like flair, just smooth government spec panels, steel wheels, and maybe a push bar. To the untrained eye, it was just a DMV car. To those in the know, it was a predator in plain clothes. Ford didn't just add power and call it a day. The Interceptor sedan came equipped with upgraded cooling systems, heavy-duty suspension, reinforced subframes, and police-grade brakes. It was designed for 24/7 abuse, idling for hours, sprinting at full throttle, and taking repeated punishment without missing a beat. Inside, it was all business. Rubber floors, vinyl rear seats, pre-wired systems for radios, lights, and laptops. Everything was stripped back to prioritize function over comfort. These weren't luxury cruisers, they were tactical tools. Today, decommissioned units are shockingly affordable. Auction lots list clean title Interceptor sedans for under $6,000. And the best part? They're incredibly easy to upgrade. With a modest tune, larger intercooler, and exhaust tweaks, you can push these into 12-second quarter-mile territory, all while looking like a boring government car. The 2014 Police Interceptor sedan proved you don't need a V8 to be feared. With the right setup, even a turbo V6 can outrun expectations. But if this Ford was subtle power perfected, the final entry on this list took things even further. It's not American, it's not flashy, and yet it may be the most capable, most exclusive police interceptor ever made. Number 1, 2017 Holden Commodore SS V Redline Police Special. You probably never saw one in person, and unless you were speeding through New Zealand, you definitely never saw one in your rearview mirror. But the 2017 Holden Commodore SS V Redline may be the final word in pursuit sleeper legends. An unassuming four-door with the heart of a Corvette and the instincts of a Predator. Deployed primarily by New Zealand police in their Highway Patrol Division, the SSV Redline was no standard cruiser. Beneath its clean, understated body sat a naturally aspirated 6.2-liter LS3 V8, straight out of the C6 Corvette. It produced 415 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque, channeled through either a 6-speed manual or 6-speed automatic transmission. Rear-wheel drive kept it raw, and the result was a 0 to 60 time of just 4.9 seconds. That's not just fast for a patrol car, that's muscle car quick, while still wearing a full-size uniform. But this wasn't just a straight-line bruiser. The Redline trim elevated it to a full-blown performance sedan. 4-piston Brembo brakes, limited-slip rear differential, magnetic ride control, and a performance-tuned exhaust made it one of the most balanced pursuit vehicles ever built. It could chase down speeders, hold its own in a corner, and stop on a dime. Police drivers loved it. Holden fans worshipped it. And when GM announced Holden's shutdown, gearheads worldwide mourned. Only a few SSV Redlines made it to the US, rebadged as the Chevrolet SS. And the actual police spec versions? Unicorns. Outfitted with cages, strobes, upgraded cooling systems, and spotlight deletes, these units were custom-built for high-speed takedowns. Today, finding one is like striking gold. Most were government-only models, and even civilian Redlines are becoming collector's items. But if you ever spot one for sale, especially with its police setup intact, don't think, just buy. The 2017 Commodore SSV Redline wasn't just the end of Holden performance. It was the final mic drop in V8 law enforcement history. Loud, precise, and dangerously fast. A true sleeper built for the badge. And with that, you've just seen the 12 most insane police interceptors ever built. Machines that broke the rules, blurred the lines, and proved that justice sometimes rides with a V8. These cars weren't built for glory or posters. They were built for pursuit, and they just happened to be perfect sleepers now that they're retired. Which one would you take home? The turbocharged Taurus? The Aussie V8 Legend? Or maybe the humble Crown Vic with 9 lives? Drop your pick in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with anyone who loves muscle cars that don't look like muscle cars. We've got more hidden legends, forgotten beasts, and untold stories coming up next. So stay tuned because speed never sleeps.